In this video, we'll be counting down the most surprising and common mistakes that people make when it comes to their checked baggage, saving the most surprising for last with tips on how to prevent things like theft, loss, and getting in trouble with the TSA. Now, in case you're new here, hi, I'm Christina from happytowonder.com. And this channel is all about practical travel tips from someone who's been there, done that, so be sure to like and subscribe if that sounds like your kind of thing. Now, this first one is basic, but it's simply forgetting to research your airline's specific restrictions or making assumptions based on past travel experiences. Rules change very quickly these days, and keeping up to date can be exhausting even for seasoned travelers. So remember to always look at your airline's official website to know what you can and can't check. Some common things that people mistakenly check when they shouldn't include things with a lithium battery, compressed gas, and certain aerosols. Another big mistake is checking bags in places where you do actually need to reclaim it before hopping on your connecting flight. While most airlines will check your bag through to the final destination, there are some places that will actually make you reclaim your bag during the layover and check it again, which, as someone who has gone through this, is quite possibly the most stressful travel experience ever, so you want to avoid this as much as possible by researching ahead of time to make sure you are not checking a bag in on a short layover somewhere that you might have to clear customs and get it. Or at least it'll give you the intel you need to book a longer layover. I've personally had this happen in both Bangkok and Calgary, so just be sure to look into it because I think it does depend on the airport and airline. Let me know in the comments if this has ever happened to you. Another basic but weirdly common mistake is leaving anything valuable or essential in your checked bag. A good rule of thumb when it comes to being a prepared traveler is just honestly assuming things will go wrong. So for me personally, I always pack my carry-on and check bag assuming that the check bag is gonna go missing for a few days, go on its own little adventure, so that anything I absolutely need, especially for those first few days of a trip, are going in my carry-on. Things like medicine, chargers, any important outfits if you're traveling for an event. Same goes for anything with sentimental or monetary value. If you'd be devastated that that thing got lost, then definitely never pack it in your check bag. On a similar note, packing all your clothes in your check bag is another huge mistake that I see a lot of people make. Again, you do want to make sure you have an emergency change of clothes in your carry-on just in case your check bag gets lost. Another mistake is packing liquids without any extra safeguards. So let's say you're bringing a big bottle of shampoo or some skincare and you're putting that in your check bag. Do always make sure you're leak-proofing your liquids as much as possible by putting an extra seal around the bottle and container, or separating them in their own waterproof bag just in case they explode, because this can actually happen often due to pressure changes or more often human error when it comes to the packing process. Similarly, do avoid packing things that are fragile without adequate support. In some cases, you might have things that you can't bring in your carry-on, like souvenir bottles of wine or something like that. In these cases, you do have to make sure you pack them very well. So wrapping them up in soft pieces of clothing, or if you want to be extra careful, you can even buy special products that are designed for keeping your wine safe. Another common mistake is using up all your allowance, because at the end of the day, you'll probably want to have some space for souvenirs. So don't make the mistake of overpacking and using up every bit of your allowance. Now, one of the best ways to pack lighter with your check bag is to put more thought into the materials that your clothes are made out of, with the preferred material of mine being merino wool. So on that note, this week's video is brought to you by Unbound Merino, a wonderful Canadian company that specializes in merino wool products, which are ideal for layering in any climate. If you haven't heard of it before, merino wool is a miracle fabric that's naturally resistant to wrinkles and odor, but also wicks moisture and regulates temperature while remaining thin and breathable, making it ideal for transitioning from long flights to sweaty public transport and everything in between. And if you find it tough to pack for different occasions, Unbound Merino stuff is really great because they focus on minimalist and versatile pieces that can be dressed up or down depending on what you're doing that day. So one of my favorite items of theirs is their relaxed V-neck tank, which can look dressy with a skirt or sporty with shorts. Plus, because merino wool is antibacterial and resistant to mildew, molds, and odor, you can actually rewear pieces for days, even weeks, without them smelling. Which means you need to pack less, which of course means more room for souvenirs. So if you want to try them out, you can find the link in my description as well as a discount code to get 10% off your first order. Thanks again to Unbound Merino for sponsoring this week's video, and now let's get back to our checked bag mistakes. Another big mistake to be mindful of is writing sensitive information on your luggage tag. Back in the day, people would write all their information directly on the luggage tags, like their address, their email, their phone number, but these days you should definitely be thinking more about your personal safety. I would personally never write anything on my luggage tag that I wasn't comfortable with a stranger knowing, so I would avoid writing things like my home address, instead opting for an email address or maybe a phone number. These days, if someone finds your bag, they're going to contact you first. They're not going to just drop it off at your house. So I think it's just better to not let everyone at the airport know exactly where you live. Another related mistake is writing your contact details only on your luggage tag. Luggage tags can and do fall off, so you do want to have a backup plan in case yours does, so that people can find your contact details even without a luggage tag present on the outside. This is why you might want to consider writing your details inside your luggage as well, so maybe with a piece of paper, just put it at the top, just in case that luggage tag does fall off. Another very common mistake is bringing a suitcase that is just too big. Like I said before, inevitably a giant bag is going to make your life way more difficult, so I do find it's better to just pack things in tighter using things like compression packing cubes, etc. to make space that way rather than carrying around a giant bag. This is especially true because checked bags can get stacked on top of each other on the plane, so if you have a big suitcase that's half empty, it might be at risk of collapsing. Now, another common mistake is neglecting to include an AirTag or tracker on your luggage. Honestly, these days I always travel with an AirTag on each of my bags, and this really what it does is provide ease of mind, and also what it can do is help staff find your bag in case it does get lost. They're fairly inexpensive and can be used for a variety of things, not just luggage, so definitely worth stocking up on a few. Related to this tip though is a big mistake that I've observed, which is putting your AirTag or tracker somewhere super obvious. These days, I've actually seen they make a lot of nice luggage tags that now include the AirTag in it, but honestly, as cute as this is, it's just gonna give a thief a heads up that you have an AirTag. So I personally prefer to hide it somewhere secret inside my suitcase, usually within a discreet zippered compartment. Another key mistake to avoid is leaving old stickers and tags on your checked bag. I have heard that this can confuse the machines and accidentally send your bag to the wrong place in some extreme cases, so as cool and worldly as those stickers make your bag look, best to remove any old ones. That said, another huge mistake I see all the time is forgetting an identifier of some kind for your bag. Now, truth be told, these days a lot of suitcases can look the same, so you do want to make sure yours looks unique in some way or else someone else might take it by accident. I know this from first-hand experience. After having my bag taken by accident, I now like to use a distinctive luggage tag anywhere I go, as well as a fun luggage strap to make mine visibly different. Some people also have funny custom suitcases with their faces on them. I say do whatever it takes. Now, another common mistake is booking a time-sensitive transfer upon arrival. Honestly, one of the biggest drawbacks of checking a bag for me is that you end up having to wait at baggage claim, which is honestly such a crapshoot. So do remember that baggage claim can take a while, and if you do need to pre-book transport, make sure it's something flexible or at the very least something that gives you a bit of extra time and not something that's going to be right after you land, because odds are baggage claim is going to slow you down. Next is another super common mistake, and that's just forgetting to take a photo. Having a photo can be really handy in case you ever need to prove that the bag was damaged in transit. It can also really be handy for helping staff locate your bag in case it actually does go missing. So yes, always a good rule of thumb to take a photo of your bag before you check it in. Ideally right at the airport so that you can prove damage for sure happened in transit. And when it comes to baggage claim, another huge mistake is not standing within sight of the baggage carousel arrival zone. I've always found baggage carousels to be such a weird and lawless free-for-all, but honestly, some of you are way too trusting. Not only can bags get stolen at baggage claim, the more common concern is actually that someone's going to just see your bag, assume it's theirs, and take it by accident, which again is what happened to me a few years ago, and now I'm super paranoid. So be sure to always be standing within sight of where the bags are arriving. And I don't mean just standing like right next to where it's arriving, right next to the carousel, because that's obviously very annoying. You want to make sure other people have space to go grab their bag, but make sure that you have eyes on the arrival zone so that you can at least, even from afar, keep an eye on the bag and know that nobody's actually taking yours thinking it's theirs. Finally, this is a mistake that pretty much everyone makes when they check a bag, and that's packing one suitcase per person. As in, I put all my clothes in my suitcase, my boyfriend puts all his clothes in his suitcase, etc. Now, truth be told, 99% of travelers pack this way, but the smarter approach would be to actually split your belongings across suitcases so that you're covered in case one of the bags goes missing. All right, thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any more tips and mistakes to share. Be sure to like and subscribe for more travel videos just like this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.